Welcome to the Talented Amateurs Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Randolph. This is the show where we shine a light on everyday people doing extraordinary things. The dreamers, the builders, and the go-getters who may not be household names, but whose stories and talents are worth celebrating. Today, we have Laronza Bridges, based in LA, who wears many hats from entrepreneur to actor to real estate. Today, we'll be discussing pursuing passion as we dive into his personal story of creating his own path to success. Laronza, how are you today? And welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Joe, for having me. I'm great today.
Glad that you were able to join. How's sunny LA today?
LA is doing good. It's supposed to be about 80 degrees today. It might touch 80, but out here it can go either way. But it's sunny, so that's the most important thing. It's sunny and not hot.
Okay. I miss LA. So today we're going to dive into a multitude of topics and really want to get into your background and some of the things that you're pursuing. You made some really significant pivots, over the course of the last few years, and just want to share that with the audience in terms of how you made that pivot. A lot of times people want to make a change, but they're afraid to make that change for a multitude of reasons, whether it's just the fear of failing, the fear of change, or they just don't know where to start. And so hopefully you can provide us a few tips and tricks and things that work for you as you continue to pursue your passion. The other part of it is, you juggle a lot of different things. And so we may just dive into how you balance everything because today, in the way that our world is moving, you have to be multifaceted. You're just relying on one career, one job. It's really hard to, in some cases, survive. And so we're going to just dive into that today. And so with that, as we dive into your story, because it is full of creativity, entrepreneurship, and just the courage to pivot when life calls for change. So maybe let's just start with who is Laronza?
Who is Laronza? Well, I'm just an average little guy, little boy, grew up in Mississippi, moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I consider Charlotte home, and just decided to have a dream. Graduated from college, Southern Miss, University of Southern Miss. Shout out to the Golden Eagles. Then from there, I got an IT degree and worked in corporate America for a while, but it was still something that wasn't there for me. It was like I go, I get a steady paycheck. I was able to do what I needed to do to survive. Basically following the path that was given to me or the path that we learned coming up in school and from a very small town where I'm from. You got to go to school, you got to get your degree, you got to go to college. Once you get the degree, you move on, go into corporate, and then you have this beautiful, successful, enjoyable life. That's the picture that they paint for us. But for me, it started out that way. It was okay, and then I hit a roadblock, and the roadblock that I hit was I wasn't happy. Was not happy.
Do you feel like when we think about the things that maybe shape, our lives early, do you feel like what would be that significant moment as you pursued coming from Mississippi to college and then as you made your way to Charlotte?
What was the question again?
Was there one thing that shaped you early to kind of help you put that track on getting back to happiness?
Well, I mean, growing up, I was involved in a lot of volunteering through my dad. My dad was like one of the pillars of the community. So he had us involved in baseball, Boy Scouts, church activities, all that good stuff. So all that kind of stayed with me and transitioned with me throughout college. Even in college, I had my own volunteer mentoring program where we used to mentor kids. So it's like always that giving back. So that was the part that felt good. But then even on that piece of the puzzle, it came to a point that even burned me out. So it was one of that what my dad instilled into us, my mom instilled into us, work hard, be successful. They always told us nobody's gonna give you anything. If you want anything out of life, you're gonna have to work for it.
Well, love that, and I think hard work is always key. And as we think about fast forwarding to today, tell us about some of the business and the career projects you're involved with right now. What's keeping you busy these days?
Oh, I have so much going on right now. as you know, real estate. I'm licensed in 3 different states, North Carolina, South Carolina, and California. So I'm juggling the Charlotte metro market as well as the greater Los Angeles market. So I'm back and forth between Charlotte and Los Angeles where it's concerned with real estate. Um, I also have RB Editing Solutions. That is not picking up as well as I thought it would be, but I got to work on some more marketing to actually get it out there. One of the things when I talk to people and I tell them that I do editing, they're like, wait, you edit? Yes, I edit. Because a lot of, I do a lot of marketing and videos and things like that for my own marketing. People was wondering, who do you hire to do your editing for your videos? I'm like, I shoot and edit my own videos. They're just like, wow, I didn't know you do that. I said, well, check out rbeditingsolutions.com and you can see what I bring to the table behind the scenes on the editing thing. So I do my own editing. And of course, I'm about to relaunch uh, RB Luxury Stays. That's my short-term rental business. So there's 2 different sides to it. One side to it is you'll be able to rent your house out to me. I would pay the rent and then Airbnb, and you just get your monthly rent. Other part of it is if you want to be a host, but you don't want to the headache of actually having to manage all the rentals, the cleaning, and all of that, then I walk you through my plan on how to get your property set up, where I'll host it for you on your behalf and manage it on your behalf, and then you just get your paycheck. You don't have to worry about making sure it's clean after every rental. You don't have to worry about supplies after every rental. You don't have to worry about anything. All you have to do is uh, follow my guide to make sure that we stage it properly to make the property uh, suitable for RB Luxury Stays because that's going to be the brand. RB Luxury Stays. We're just not putting up anything on RB Luxury Stays. It has to follow the brand, and not only that, it also has to be a property that we feel that's going to actually make some money. Because when it comes to short-term rentals, it's more than just, oh, let me just throw my house out there. That's if people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes to get it, in location, how the house looks, the house guidelines, the rules, all that plays a part into a successful short-term rent. So that's how RB Luxury Stays is going to be set up. So I'm super, super excited about that. And then, of course, acting. Acting. Yes, acting. I got a lot of projects. It was crazy. I was updating my IMDb page a few weeks ago, and I have I think I have almost 25 credits. I didn't realize I had that many credits. I didn't realize I had worked on that many projects
And what is that
throughout
for
my
folks that don't, for folks that don't really understand the acting world? And we'll dive a little bit into that later. But what is that? What is the credits? Why is that important?
credits is important because it shows that you are actually getting them. Okay. It shows that you have worked. It shows not only what you worked on, but it also shows what your role is on the project, whether it's principal, whether it's lead acting, whether it's supporting, and so forth. It also shows that you are someone that can actually get in front of the camera and produce the stories that the writers have written. That's what the credits are. It shows, hey, he was in this film, he was in this film, he was in this. It's kind of like a resume, basically.
Okay,
It's,
got
it's,
it.
it's a resume. It's a resume. In corporate, we have our resume list of all of our skills, list everything that we've done, every company that we've worked on, how long we worked for the company. Well, IMDb is considered your basically online resume for other directors and other producers to be able to see. Okay, so if a casting director want to know something about me after an audition. Okay, let me check out his IMDb page. They see I see he's also worked on this, he's worked on this, he's worked on this. Oh, he has a lot of credits. So it's kind of a resume builder in
Okay,
the entertainment industry.
got it. Okay, now that makes sense. And I guess it's almost it follows you as well, and also helps people find you and kind of the work you're doing. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Can I maybe
similar
let's
to like
talk?
this.
Yeah, go
It's like
ahead.
a LinkedIn. It's like a LinkedIn. Think of it as a LinkedIn for actors.
Got you. That's a good point. All right, cool. Now that makes definitely that makes sense. maybe going back to the RB luxury rentals, you said.
RV luxury stays, yeah.
Who maybe tell us a little bit about who would be your like ideal client and what is considered a short term rental?
A short-term rental is basically what it is. It's a vacation property, short-term rental. Long-term rentals are like people that's renting a house out for month to months or signing a 6 month lease or something like that. Short-term
Okay.
rentals are just a few days, couple of weeks, you know. It's basically similar to like you probably people probably recognize them as Airbnb. Same thing. Same
Got
thing
it.
as short-term rental. So basically you utilize that platform, you know. Because when it comes to short-term rentals, it's like, okay, people checking in, people checking out. It's like it has the flow of a hotel, but from a perspective of an actual home. Some people do just rooms. Some people have like guest houses that they rent out, and some people rent out the entire house. I'm more with RV luxury state. We're more focused on entire homes because we don't want people to be pulling up to one of the properties and then somebody else is living there as well. That can be a little creepy.
Got it. And with most of your clients, are they based in LA, Charlotte, or are you able to work across the US, whereas with real estate, you have to be licensed in certain states? How does that work from a business model perspective?
From short-term rentals, you can rent out property anywhere,
Okay.
anywhere. My focus is going to be Charlotte, and Los Angeles, mainly because that's where I'm based. And then I have a couple of more cities in mind, like Miami and also probably the Atlanta market. Those are good markets to have um, STRs and short-term rentals in. Vegas, thought about Vegas but Vegas has created so many different laws now. It's not hard to do a short-term rental in Las Vegas. The thing is, they put in so many fees for you to be able to do a short-term rental in Las Vegas. They basically don't want them there, so they're making it difficult and expensive to be able to do, which means most people want short-term rentals because they're usually cheaper than hotels, or it makes more sense to stay at a short, especially when you have a big group of people, everybody wants to be together. The money that you can
Mhm.
spend on a hotel, you can just spend it on a short-term rental and you'll save a few
Right.
bucks and it'll be just as comfortable and probably cleaner than a hotel or resort. And Vegas
Okay.
is a tourist city. They that's how they make their money. So if people are using staying at STRs and not in the hotels and resorts, they're losing money. So they have tightened it really, really, really tight. So yeah, it's crazy out there.
Okay. And you also mentioned your editing business. Maybe can you expound on that a little in terms of what are your focus areas? Is it video? Is it audio? Can you just maybe elaborate on the
Yeah.
nuances of
With
your editing?
RB Editing Solutions, our goal is well, when I first started out with RB Editing Solutions, the goal was just to do demo reels for actors. And if people don't know what a demo reel is, a demo reel is basically a video resume. It's your work. It's you take clips, the best clips that you can possibly find of your on-screen acting work from a project, and you put them all together to make at least a minute and a half to no more than a 2 minute video of your work. So if you're submitting yourself to an audition and they say, "Hey, we would like to see your video, your reel," so that's what the reels are. So that's what it started. But then I expanded it to not only doing video reels, but I also want to help content creators. There are a lot of content creators that are out here putting so we have an option for reels, creating content, short videos, and things like that, just so people can you know put like I said, for influencers and things like that. And I also into creating commercials for people for their businesses. I can actually put together a legitimate commercial for your business. I did a hair care product one time for this one business, and they loved it. They was like, "Oh my god!" They sent me because I told them like, and what I do if you want me to be the model because I'm a brand ambassador, I'll charge a little extra, or I can work with you and we can scout to find other models to be a part of your commercial as well. So it's all about what you want. So once I do the consultation with them to figure out exactly what they want, then I start giving them ideas and tossing ideas out of what they want. So the guy was like, "Well, if you don't mind using our product and showing our hair care product, we don't mind hiring you to be the model." And they hired me to be the model. So I put together full commercial. It was crazy because I had to use two cameras to get both angles. People were like, and they was like, "Oh my God, you did a great job of putting this together." And I was like, "Okay, I got to set this camera up to grab this angle, set this camera up to grab that angle." I was standing in front of the mirror, so I had to make sure that the cameras were not in view of each other on the cut, so to make it a clean cut, and then put it all together. Had the music, walk them through. I was basically walking them step by step, following the instructions that they gave me on how to use their shampoo and conditioner hair care product. And when I gave them the final product, they was like, "This turned out better than we thought it was going to turn out." I
Nice.
was like, "Hey, yeah."
I love that. As we think about the ability to pivot and trying to really follow our dreams, a lot of people dream about changing careers, but stop short of just actually doing it. And you made some bold moves, which help push you through kind of, some of those nuances. And, what helped you push through the hesitation to actually take that leap?
What helped me push through those hesitations and to make that leap? The main thing was I was not happy in corporate America. I was not happy. It had gotten, I remember one job that I had when I was living out in Charlotte. I was so unhappy at that place. It could rain and I was called out because it was not worth me getting out of my bed. If I got up in the morning, it's raining. I look at the forecast. There's 60, 70% chance of rain. That means it's probably going to rain all day long. I ain't got to get out of my bed, go out in this rain, drive all the way to these people's job, get wet from the parking lot, go into the building, and have to deal with this craziness. It was just, I was not happy. I was not fulfilled. Then I left that job, went to another job. Every job, because again, like I said earlier, they paint this picture of being successful in the corporate world, but I was not happy. I was stressed. There was this one job I was so stressed. My doctor had to take me out of work for 3 months
Mm.
because of the stress level that I was. She was like, "You are a walking time bomb. You can have a heart attack at any second right now."
Wow.
So that was one of the things. So going back, thinking about all of that, and like my last maybe 5 years in corporate, it was just like, this is not it. This is not it. I know there is something so much more for me than what corporate is giving me. So I decided to put together a plan and execute it. It was a hard plan. Um, a lot of people was like, what's going on? What's going on? What is he? I was moving in silence, moving in silence. I realized I need to fund my businesses. I didn't want to take out a short-term loan with the bank. So guess what I did? I sold the house so I can have seed money to sow into my businesses, to be able to afford the marketing, to be able to pay for the LLCs and get the EIN numbers, to get the bank accounts going, to get everything you need. Some of the business needed trademarks, had to pay for all that good stuff. So I stepped outside of what was normal so I can be able to pivot to get where I know I'm supposed to be.
And
Scary? Yes.
you mentioned the plan and obviously moving in silence. A lot of people think when people make moves, they just wake up one day, you know what? I'm gonna shift gears. Talk
Mm-mm.
to us about that planning process and why is that important to be able to do that effectively, but also why you do it in silence and what's the
Okay.
significance there?
Well, you have to have a plan. You can't execute your life without a plan. Because when you're out here living and maneuvering and don't have a plan, you're going to always hit roadblocks. Now, when it comes to starting and building a business, you're going to always hit roadblocks. But when you have a plan in place, you already ready for the roadblocks when they come. And a lot of people don't realize you can easily take a business without planning it out and say, oh, here it is. Let me just jump it out there. Because a lot of people are like, oh, you just got to take a leap of faith. Yeah, you always have to take a leap of faith, but you got to be smart about that leap.
Right.
Because if you don't know how, when you're leaping, if you don't know how big that gap is between your leap and where you have to land at, you might fall in.
That's facts. Yes.
And also, right, and those obstacles that you run into when you just throw it out there, not only do they set your business back, but some of them can be very costly to get out of.
Yep.
You thought jumping out there, oh, I could do it like this. Oh, initially the business started off a success, then you run into the roadblock and you look, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't think about that. Now you got to go back and redo that. Now all of a sudden you're looking at, oh my God, it's about to cost me $5,000 to $10,000.
Yep.
All because I rushed it. So yeah, you have to have a plan. You have to execute your plan. And there was a second part of that question. What was the second part of that question?
No, I think you answered. I just, as you think about just that pivot, you know, part of you making that shift and making that move, you also moved across the country as well, which is not an easy task in itself. I've done it twice, and I know it's just a lot that goes into that. What was your process of saying, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and make this move to LA and from Charlotte"? Talk to us about your thought process and making that decision, and why was it the right time when you moved to go to LA?
Well, I moved to Los Angeles in 2020, right in the smack middle of COVID. But it wasn't a let me wake up one day, I'm moving to Cali, and a month later, I'm moving. I decided to move to Los Angeles in 2017. I knew in 2017 that I was going to be moving to Los Angeles in 2020. Back in 2016, that's when I was starting to feel the itch. I love me some Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte will always be my home. I tell people when people ask me where I'm from, I said I'm from Charlotte. I grew up in Mississippi, but I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, because I actually lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, longer than I lived in Mississippi. So in 27, I used to tell people in 2016, going into 2017, I used to say the soil under my feet in Charlotte are loosening up. The people were like, what does that mean? I was like, I don't think Charlotte is my environment. Now, had you asked me in 2010, 2011, 2012, would you ever leave Charlotte? I would have been like, leave Charlotte? Why? Why would I leave Charlotte? I love this place.
Yeah.
But after 2016, I was like, I felt like I had hit a plateau, like there was no more growth for me. It had gotten comfortable. Okay. So I was in my comfort zone. This was easy. It was familiar. And then I decided in order for you to go to your next level, you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to get out of what's easy for you. This is easy. Charlotte is easy. You know everybody. You're well connected in this city. You can call this person to pretty much get anything you want. But you've been here for over 20 years and your level still hadn't moved to the level that it should be. So now it's time to shift some things. So I put my plan together. I said, okay, well, I got to move to Los Angeles. How do I get to Los Angeles? Thought about moving. When I thought about where I was going to move, I thought about Houston at first, and then I thought about Los Angeles. And so those are the two cities that are more appealing to me. And I ended up decided on Los Angeles because it's West Coast, it's far, and I can get a fresh start. Nobody knows me, and I can also step over into my peace in Los Angeles. And so I
Okay.
put my plan together. I decided, okay, what am I going to do with this house? So I remodeled my entire house. That's when I first started my STR business with my own property because I needed to figure out what was going to happen. So in 2017, I started remodeling my house inside, and I did a full makeover of my entire house, outside and inside. I'm talking about ripping everything up, ripping the floors up, new countertops, new everything. And so I started my first CR. That was part of my planning phase. So in 2019, January 2019, I said, okay, I'm scheduled to move in 2020. So I need this house up and running as a short-term rental to work out all the kinks. So what I did, got an apartment downtown Charlotte. So whenever my house was rented, I would stay at the apartment. So that helped me work out all the kinks, all the hiccups that I needed. That way, when I leave in 2020, everything can run smooth because I've had an entire year to work out the kinks. I also started visiting Los Angeles more frequently in 2019 as well to figure out where am I going to live, doing my research, figuring out how much it's going to cost me to make this leap from Charlotte to Los Angeles because I knew there was going to be a huge cost difference in what we pay in Charlotte at that time versus what Los Angeles would. But at the way Charlotte's picking up now, Charlotte's about to catch up with Los Angeles.
It's getting that's number probably in the top 10 of most expensive places to live now.
So yeah, that was basically my plan. I got here 2020. You remember we went to Canada that February 2020.
Yep.
And I was scheduled to move March of 2020
Right.
because my lease was up in Charlotte. I had solidified my place in Los Angeles. So basically, when my lease ended in February, I was supposed to be moving out of my Charlotte apartment to Los Angeles. But then as soon as boom, hit with COVID, the world closed down. So that caused a pause. So the place that I was moving to here in LA, they called me and they said, well, this COVID thing has happened. Once we figure that out, we'll let you know when you're able to move. So I ended up staying in Charlotte for 2 additional months. So I ended up moving here in May of 2020 instead of March of 2020.
No, that's fascinating, and and that is a lot of planning. There's a lot of preparation, and I think a lot of people lose sight of how much you have to think through these strategic moves and the don't the what you call it the soil is getting unsettled on your feet.
Yeah, the soil is getting loose underneath my feet. I wasn't planning anymore in Charlotte.
Yep. And I can resonate with that because I when you start to get comfortable, you kind of want to start over, disrupt your life, see if you can duplicate somewhat the same level of success that you were able to
Right.
get. And and sometimes moving allows you to recalibrate. So 5 years in,
Mm-hmm.
what have you learned with being in LA for 5 years at this stage?
What I've learned in Los Angeles is, well, first of all, Los Angeles is one of those you gotta work hard to make it in this city. You can be scared, but you can't be scared to grind in the city of Los Angeles because you will find yourself dropped and not knowing which way to go. One thing I like about Los Angeles is if you got a business out here, they will support it, especially within the Black community. Now, it's hard to network and build a community within the Black community, but they will support it, which is kind of weird.
Okay. What
Like
does
you
that
have
mean?
there's like networking out here. The people out here, they don't know how to network. They want to go to the next level, but they don't know how to network and make it happen. It's a
Okay.
weird thing. In Charlotte, the Black community, we meet people, you meet people. We might be out having a drink or having dinner somewhere. You might see somebody, oh, hey, this is such and such, such and such, to connect. They might sit down at the bar with us and have a drink. And next thing you know, okay, well, here's my card or here's my number. We've
Right.
exchanged number and we'll probably hang out again.
Okay.
This person, whether it's with you or without you, because there was a decent connection made. In Los Angeles, it don't work like that. You can meet somebody at a bar, at a party, at an event, hit it off, exchange information. You will never hear from these people again. But the
Interesting.
thing about it is, they can see your success. And when they look at you, they can tell that you're different from what they're accustomed to. So they'll ask you what you do first before they even ask you what your name is. And if what you do doesn't sound like something that can help them, then in their minds, they feel they have no reason to connect with you again.
So it's very transactional in terms of the relationships. Okay.
Everything is translated. If you can give me something or do something to me for me, I had to explain to this young lady one time. She was like, "Well, y'all don't like to help. Y'all don't have to help." I said, "Sweetheart, it's not about helping you." I said, when people build their brand and build their reputations in certain industries, they have to keep it that way. Yes. Can I refer you to some modeling coaches or some directors and get you some auditions? Yes, I can. However, I need to know you and have a rapport with you and have a relationship strong enough where I can vouch for you. I can't vouch for you on one encounter that we've had. You meet me at a bar or an event and say, "Hey, I'm an, I'm an, I'm a rapper. I'm a singer. I want to get my music out there. I'm a model." Well, yeah, I know people at Apple Music. Yes, I know modeling coaches that take models to LA Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, London Fashion Week, Paris. These people are serious about what they're doing. I need to know that you're serious before I can say, "Oh, hey, let me introduce you to such and such." One lady, she wanted to model, but she also wants her daughter to model, but she wants to be the momager for the daughter. You decide, do you want to do it or do you want her to do it? Because if I send you to my people and you don't show up, that makes me look bad. And I don't think
Right.
they understand that concept out here because this is, oh, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. And I told um, one individual that I met, I said, the reason why y'all can't get it is because you're not patient enough for it. You're like a net bouncing from person to person to person to person to person. I said, you have to build that relationship, build that rapport. And that way, when someone feels comfortable enough with you, oh, you want a model? Oh, let me see your portfolio. You don't have a portfolio. Well, you know you're going to need a portfolio, right? I can help you build a portfolio. But if you don't stick around long enough, then you're not going to get it. You can be on Instagram all you want to, and they can tell you that you're beautiful and that you're successful, that you look like you could be a model, or you doing this and you doing that on Instagram. But guess what? Instagram ain't hiring people to model.
Right.
If you want to be in the real industry of modeling or acting or music, you have to sit with the people that are in that industry, that are making the decisions, that are deciding who they want to take to the next level. And if someone can get you there or help you get there, you got to build that rapport. Because if I put you out there, you're not ready, you're raw material, my people are going to call me and be like, Laronza, what is this? I can't believe you sent this person out here. They are nowhere near ready. They're difficult to work with. Because they got 200,000 followers on Instagram. They think they already the it. They can't listen. They can't follow instructions. No,
Right.
no, no. So yeah, and they don't get that concept. And I wish I could help them, but I'm at a point now. I think I've given up on trying to help the people out here because they don't want it.
And you tend to see more of those transactional relationships in bigger cities. And, obviously being in the South, it's much more relationship oriented, more focus on under getting to know people, where in bigger cities and out West, it's about, hey, I got very little time. I don't have much. So how can we help each other? What can I benefit from you or what you can benefit from me? And then from there, maybe there's a relationship that may cultivate in a business realm and over time, but making those short-term connections a little harder just because everyone has something to do, somewhere to go. And sometimes they just don't have the time to really build and cultivate, but you have to build and cultivate the relationships.
And you just said something. They want it fast, fast, fast. I don't have time. I actually asked the person. I said, "How far?" I said, "You don't have time to cultivate a relationship. How far have you gotten, and where you trying to go? Because you have not cultivated a relationship."
Right. And that's and acting and want to get into acting and how you got into that because everybody just don't wake up and say, you know what, I want to go be an actor, right? Talk to us about that process and
Acting
how did you get into acting? And it's one thing to say you want to do it, it's another to execute on it. And you've probably been acting what, almost 10 years? Has it been that long?
is over 10 years. As long as
Yes. Talk to us
yes.
about how you got into acting and what's that process and that journey span.
Well, John, you know me. We've known each other a long time, so I've been acting a fool all my life. So,
And that's for sure.
but as a kid, I want to be an actor. I really want to be an actor as a child. But of course, growing up in Mississippi, we don't know the first thing about trying to be no daggone actor. All thing we know is what we being taught, what's being shoved down our faces. Especially growing up in a very small rural area that I grew up in down in Mississippi. So I've always had the heart to want to be an actor. I've always been able to impersonate people. I mean, you've heard my Bernie Mac impersonation, Medea, and a few other characters that I can do. And I just always had and want to do it. So back in 2008, I believe I was met a lady I met her 4 years prior to that. And she had a play that she wanted to do. She had a stage play that she wanted me to do. She offered me a small role because she saw me at one of our conventions. And she
Okay.
said, "This guy is hilarious." And he said he's multi-talented. I watched this man set up a whole internet cafe with a bunch of computers, and then he over here doing this and doing that. So he got some talent on him. Right.
Right.
So she cast me for a small role. And I was, into it and going to the rehearsals. And a week before her lead actor quit. And she was like, "You gonna have to do it." I'm like, "What? How do I go from this little bitty teeny role to a whole full lead role while I'm on stage every time this daggone curtain open almost?"
Gotta be ready.
So I got to learn all these new lines. She was like, "I don't even care. You can even at this juncture, you can even have the paper." I was no, I will not be standing on stage with paper in my hand. I might be doing a lot of ad libbing, but I'm not about to be standing up on stage on my first little play with paper. So I did that role, and everybody after the um after the show, everybody was like, "You should have been the lead from the beginning." They said you knocked it out of the park. There was some song. She didn't feel I could sing well enough to do her songs. And so our music director at the time, he was like, "This song don't even fit my voice." Right? It was the
Right.
last song of the production play. He was like, "She making me sing this song. It doesn't even fit my voice." Did you not know? He started singing that song. He did one bar and walked over to me and gave me the microphone. The look on her face when of course she couldn't say cut because we live at a play.
Right.
She looked like I know he just did not do that. But of course I shut the house down. Everybody
Shut it
was
down.
when he passed me the mic though, everybody that was there were on their feet.
Okay.
So that kind of like gave me that spark to do acting. I started taking acting classes because again, this is not a craft that you can just say, "Oh, I'm going to act." No, you have to take
Right.
classes. You have to know what's going on. You have to know at least acting 101. Nobody's going to take you serious if you don't even know the basics. You go
Right.
into an audition and they say slate, and you're like, "What is that? What does that mean?" Well, clearly, you're not an actor if you don't know what a slate is. A slate is just introducing yourself. Hi, my name is actor Laronza Bridges. I'm represented by such and that, and I'll be reading for the role of blah, blah, blah. That's basically all the slate is. But if you don't know that, they're going to be like, no matter how good your audition is, they're going to be like, this person didn't even know how to slate. So if you don't know how to slate, that's going to tell them you've never been on a real set. You may be difficult to work with, difficult to direct, difficult to follow instructions because you don't know what's going on. When you're on a film project, when they, if you're on a stage, working on a stage project, upstage versus downstage, exit left, exit right, you got to know that stuff. On a film project, camera rolling, sound rolling, you have to know what that means. Action. You have to know what cut means when they say cut. People here on TV, they say quiet on the set. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Quiet on the set.
Right.
That's something that they're implementing for TV purposes. That's a real thing because those
Right.
microphones and everything are very sensitive. They can pick up the slightest little whisper. So when actors are doing their craft and doing their thing, you don't want to be heard in the background and have to reshoot something all because somebody in the background wasn't quiet. And it also is a distraction for the actors.
And it costs money.
Yes, it does. Time
And
is
it
money.
costs money.
Project we
Yes.
worked on yesterday was the director was filming with the crew because you come to film at film day, but you brought one battery. Sir, what did y'all thought we was doing today? So he had to go get batteries, and that held up production for a few hours.
And people
Yeah,
don't understand the nuances of those things, right? If you're filming outside, you got to factor in daylight and you got to
adjustment
wait till the next
exactly,
day. Creates more costs and all the above.
exactly.
And,
Right.
and you
So
sparked a
after
few
I,
things too, right?
Mhm.
And I was gonna say you sparked a few things in terms of a lot of times people feel like you can be great without the fundamentals. And what you described in terms of understanding kind of the basics of acting, the great actors, they've mastered the fundamentals, right?
You got to
Big
know the
and
fundamentals.
small, because
Mhm.
then it allows the talent to then take off much more in a greater
Oh yeah.
fashion because they've mastered the fundamentals. So I think that was a great point, just going in and just being able to really hound on that. Um,
Yeah, when you know what you're doing in this industry, like I've been doing acting for so long now. I get directors that will call me and say, "Hey, I got a role. I've been watching you for years. I think I've written a role for you." I had this one lady out of Georgia. She's already casting me for two of her projects. We've never even met in person before. She's been following my career. She's been watching some of the stuff that I'm in. She wrote a project, and she uh had one of the characters in mind as she was writing. She wanted me to play that character. So I didn't even have to
what
audition.
what's been one of your more favorite characters to play? And you maybe shout out a few of your movie credits that you've done, and which role in which character has been your favorite.
Which character has been my favorite? It's been so many. Hold on, let me think. Let me think. I have one that I like. I enjoy playing him. Sweet Mahogany, Tony. And nobody likes Tony. Everybody that watches Sweet Mahogany, they can't stand Tony. So apparently, I must be doing a good job of playing Tony. Because every time I meet people that have seen Sweet Mahogany and don't know me, I actually actress yesterday, she's seen Sweet Mahogany. She said, "I don't like Tony, but you really a nice person." She said, "You ain't nothing like Tony." I said, "Well, I'm bringing the character to life." Um, I really
That's the
enjoyed
role you
playing.
was dating the sister and the two sisters, right? Yeah, I ain't
Well,
like
that's the
that
one.
one
The baby mama. The baby mama. I was actually dating her sister. But the baby mama and I had broken up, so
I
I
know.
was still. Uh, yeah, you seen it. I, Tony had this rough exterior about him, but he also had a gentle side when it came to his daughter. You know, him and Mahogany would get into it, or he and Mahogany's sister Melody would get into it. But when he got around his daughter, he was like butter. She could do no wrong. He would tone it down, make sure she's good, show the love and affection towards his daughter, hug her, make sure she's everything. He's all lovey-dovey. But then all of a sudden he'll look at Mahogany like he'll switch it over when it came to
Right.
Mahogany or some of the rest
Yeah.
of them. So yeah, I definitely enjoy playing Tony. In Prescription for Love, that was a good role that I had. I was kind of like a campaign manager for one of the characters, Tyree. I was her campaign manager. I was kind of like a male Olivia Pope in that role. So I really enjoyed that one. And then Saved and the Salacious was a good one. That's the one I played the gospel hip hop artist. I got a chance to not only show my acting talents, but I also got a chance to display my singing talents as well. Because I was singing in that one, so that was a fun role to play too as well. And but one of the projects that I worked out that had the most fun was A Very Merry New Year. That's the
Okay.
one we filmed in the Tennessee in the cabin. The director, Carlton Clay, he just hit me up and said, "Hey, I'm doing this Christmas New Year type movie. I want you to be in it." I didn't even know the role I was playing. When he gave me, he said, "I don't have time to do a casting call. I'm picking. I'm just gonna call in some actors and getting them on board, and then I can write it out, figure out what role you're gonna play." He said he started naming that's Nelson J. Davis, Shataria's gonna be in there. Uh, and he just started going down the list of people that was like, I said, wait. I worked with all these Kevin Stone. I said, wait a minute, this about to be like a reunion. This about to be a reunion.
Right.
So I initially was going to play the photographer. Then he called me a month before. He said, well, the guy that was going to play the photographer, he can't do it. I mean, who was going to be the pastor? He can't do it now. So I'm going to switch your role to the pastor. And I'm going to get somebody else to play the photographer. So now I got a month to learn all the pastor roles, and I had to preach. I had to do two sermons, Joe, and I
Okay.
preached. I remember the first uh, scene where I had to actually do a sermon. When I preached, the director was like, "And cut." He stood there like he was like, "Wow." He was like, "I didn't know you was gonna do all that." I said, "You told me I had to preach." He
Come
said,
on,
"Yeah,
Pastor.
he said, you preached." Then our music director, Clark, said, he said, when we edit this, we're gonna add a few organ chords up in here so we can make it seem like he said, that boy was, he said he done shut the house down. So we gotta make it, we got to add them chords in there to make it seem like, make it real.
Did it take up offering after you finish?
Well, they was about to. I was about
It
to
was
open the
about
doors
to.
of church. So yeah, some of my favorite roles. I got a few more projects that I've worked on that are in production and about to come up. We was actually supposed to have a premiere for We in This Together this weekend, but we ran into the hiccups, and so the director is working out those kinks. I just filmed Vegas Vixen that's actually out already. You can watch it on Tubi, YouTube, not YouTube. I think it's on Tubi and Prime. And then there was another film we've already filmed. It's called A Wonderful Lie by the People's Network. They're out of Las Vegas.
Okay.
The trailer of that one is actually out. It's pretty good movie. It's a lot of twists and turns in A Wonderful Lie. People gonna be like, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're gonna be like, what? It's gonna leave you like, huh? Wait a minute. It was all a lie.
Nice. No, you've done you. I've been really impressed with how you've been able to navigate your acting career amongst all the different things that you have going on across your businesses, the real estate, and then obviously with the acting. What's been as a multifaceted, multi-hyphenated entrepreneur, it's not a small feat. What has been the biggest, I guess, mindset shift as you've kind of navigated all these different hats that you wear?
Its mindset shift is to, for me, is making sure that you allocate enough time to get everything done. When you're running multiple businesses and wearing so many hats, you feel like you don't have time for nothing and nobody. And a lot of people are used to me being the social butterfly and all, but that's where I'm at now. It's all about navigating and making sure that every business acting and all of that is getting a fair shake of my time. I find myself working 7 days a week. I find myself working nonstop. Um, I have to tell myself, hey, buddy, you need a day off. You need a day off. You've been going, your brain is exhausted at this point. You need a day off. So I have to force myself to take a day off because once those ideas start flowing, it's kind of hard to stop. I tell some of my friends that live out here, I say, hey, you want me? It's we'll never see you. I say, hey, if you want to hang out with me, you just got to call me and say, hey, turn that
Oh,
laptop off. Turn that laptop off. I said, because I'll log on at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and I find myself still in front of this laptop at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
right,
I said, so it, you got to balance it, but I mean, it's getting to a point now where things are starting to level off. I'm not having to put in as much work. I'm working on a new baby right now. I'm excited about that one. Hopefully, I can get that one launched um, at the end of this month, August. That's my merch e-commerce business that I'm about to launch. That has been in the works now, an idea in my mind for about 3 years now, and I'm finally got to the point of kind of putting the hammers to build those pieces out. And when I tell you, it is coming together. I ran into a lot of roadblocks, but iron those roadblocks out, and um, I'm excited. The mock-ups are really looking good. They giving me
okay,
everything I want, and so I'm that one is I'm definitely excited about because it's got some. You know me, Joe. You know I have a lot of sayings,
right.
so I'm starting to put my sayings on merch now. I didn't realize how many I had until I was trying to categorize all of them. I was using my little chat GPT assistant. So I uploaded my file that I have been selecting of my sayings over the years. And when I tell you, when we finalized that list, I had over 550 sayings.
You had that many?
Mhm.
Okay. And for the
I didn't
audience,
realize,
when you say sayings, give us one of your sayings that is your
well, you
go-to.
know, you know, one of my sayings, I can't kill nothing, won't nothing die.
Okay.
You know me, I don't brag, but I'm kind of a big deal. So, so
And so
you
with
be
the
sick.
and with the merch, is it mostly going to be t-shirts? Is it going to be hats, or it's going to be a combination of
It's going to be a
different?
combination. We're starting. I'm starting out. The initial launch phase is going to be just t-shirts, um, tank tops. We'll do a few mugs, a few tumblers, and things like that. And then as we grow the business, we're going to expand into hoodies, backpacks, canvas, uh, uh, pictures, uh, decorative pillows. Dog bandanas, dog
Okay.
trays, all yeah, water bottles, phone cases. We're just going to be expanding and expanding. It's going to be a never-ending expansion.
You covering the market. I see. Very
I'm
good.
excited. When I say I'm excited, when I finish the first set of mock-ups, I've done about 40 mock-ups.
Okay. Wow.
And when I finished them, when I said I was very pleased with the outcome, I've shared a couple of them with a few people, and they were like, "Oh, wow, yeah, yeah, I want that one. Let me know when that one's gonna be ready. I want that one. I want that one." We've already started the marketing for that one. I haven't disclosed the name of my company yet for various reasons, but
Right.
there is a TikTok account already open for that one, as well as Facebook, as well as Instagram. And once I get the e-commerce piece uh, up and running, then we're gonna switch over and open up a TikTok shop as well. And
Okay.
people don't realize the work. I didn't realize how much work went into it. I've been working on this now for months. I'm talking about everything from doing the research to meeting with print on demand companies to see how they work, meeting with Shopify to see how they connect with the print on demand company, making sure that the quality of the products that I want to put out there are good products and going to be something that people are going to like and people are going to love. So it's a lot of there's a lot of pieces. I mean, anybody can just say, "Oh, let me get a print." Boom, boom, boom. I got a t-shirt. Here you go. No, I'm not doing that. I went
It's a
through,
lot of
like
moving
we talked about
parts.
the other day. There's a process, and people don't. A lot of people don't realize when it comes to success, there is a process.
It is.
There is a process.
It
There
is.
is no shortcut to true success.
No, and that's a good point. And you mentioned that it's sometimes it's late nights, early mornings.
Mhm.
Sometimes you miss events. You don't get a chance to connect with people. Success sometimes is lonely, right? And you
It
have
is.
to make
It is.
sacrifices.
Oh my God! It's the yeah. That success is long. I'm gonna have to put that on a shirt.
It's
Credit you,
lonely.
Joe.
And when people success is a word that people wrestle with. And how do you define success today? And has that definition changed since you left the corporate world and really started to expand all the into the things that you're doing today?
When I was in the corporate world, success was painted as a work hard, you'll be rewarded.
Mhm.
That's not the case, especially for African Americans, that's Black folks. We don't get that same reward for working so hard. Our reward is generally more work that somebody else has said that they're too overwhelmed to be able to do. That's usually our reward. There are a handful of us that gets that big promotion, get that big salary boost, and gets all of that, and that's fine. But my success now is different to me. It's different to me now because it's tangible to me. I created it. I call the shots. I make the decisions. I can decide what I want. I can decide what's working. I can decide what's not working so I can scratch it. So it only like and a lot of people, of course, we think success is always about the money. We all love money. We need money to
Right.
survive. We need money to grow and do things with. But how I define mine is like I just told you. I can touch it. I can decide which direction I want to go. I don't have to go ask anybody. I don't need somebody else's approval because I'm the one that's approving, you know? And I always tell people, do what you love. Figure out what your passion is. I've taken everything that I love, that I'm passionate about, and turned it into a business. I said, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of work. I said, but once you reach the level of success that you have defined for yourself and things start going smooth, that's when that money is going to start rolling in.
Mhm.
I'm looking at some of my projections on some of the research that I've done, with especially for my e-commerce business. I'm probably going to make more in 1 year if them numbers hit right than I probably made in corporate America in 10 years.
Pretty awesome. That's pretty strong as well.
Mhm.
Pretty
I
strong.
thought I was, I thought I was crazy, but after I started doing the research and putting my what I'm doing and putting it and comparing it to what I've seen other e-commerce people do, I'm like, this is if this hits, it's gonna hit. And then I've been able to call, hey Joe, we flying private over to to St. Thomas. Meet me. We're gonna scoot through
Well,
there and pick you up, and you keep
hey,
your dossier, and we gonna head on over to the island.
put me in, coach. Put me in. No, and what you're referring to there is you have to pursue purpose and passion and not profit all the time. Profit and money, yes, it's important, especially when you have a business, because the ultimate goal for any business is to make a profit. But if you lead with that, you kind of miss some of the fundamentals. It goes back to acting. If you don't master the fundamentals, and if
Mhm.
you don't really hone in on the purpose of what you want to do, it won't
Right,
be sustainable when you do get to that point, or you're making that money that you're making because you miss some key elements in the middle, right? And so I think
right,
that's important when you start to look at, you know, defining success. And it's different for everyone, right? And
right.
I think that's the key, and is understanding what does success look like for me. And so
I heard,
um
I heard an actress say she said, do what you're passionate about, do what you love. She said that money will eventually come
it will.
because if you're not happy at what you're doing, no matter how much money they pay you, you're not going to be fulfilled. You're going to be
Right.
more drained out. Yeah, I got the paycheck. The money that I'm making is great, but I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. I feel drained every day. You go on a vacation. Yeah, you go on a vacation to detach yourself from it, but even when you're on vacation, you're probably still thinking about it. And when you come back from vacation, oh my God, now I got to go
Yeah.
back to this job. Yeah, Hawaii was lovely. South Cape Town was amazing, but now I got to go back to this job. And one of the things I share with a lot of young people now, I tell them be more entrepreneurial spirited versus college spirited and going to corporate America. I said, there's nothing wrong with going to college at this point. Go to college to experience life without your parents. Go to college to make your lifelong friends. But don't go to college now thinking that you're going to be the next CEO of one of these Fortune 500 companies. I said, because the chances of you becoming a CEO, especially as a black man of one of these Fortune 500 companies, is you probably will get hit with life before you become a CEO of one of these Fortune 500 companies.
That's pretty sound, and I think it's really, and especially with the way that technology is taking shape. AI.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of the traditional careers that we are used to may not be here in 5 to 10 years, and so
Right.
it's almost like you have to figure out how to be able to create something. It's going to be more of a creator economy, and you have to be able to produce something, a service, or create something. And so I think that's important.
A
And
lot of
so
jobs that they're coming up with now, they're like really trying to use computers to do them.
they are
They're trying to wipe out human beings from actually doing work.
right. And so you just have to be creative, right? And understanding how to operate within kind of the nuances of it. So, for example, I know they're doing the autonomous taxis with Tesla, right? You
Mhm.
know, you may not be driving a Tesla, but maybe you go buy one and then you have an autonomous driver that's making money for you. So you don't have to be in a car. So you can go focus on something else. And so you
Right.
have to be able to be intentional about understanding the landscape and figuring out
Mhm.
how you fit into it and how you can survive, make money, grow, and continue to thrive based on that. And so I know we're coming up on time. So what I would like as we kind of wrap up, and this is really great to kind of hear just kind of your story, your background. If if we wrap up today, and I like to leave the listeners three things before we go. If they didn't hear anything else from
Mhm.
today's discussion, what would be three things that you would want to leave them with from this conversation today?
Three things from our conversation today. One, don't be scared. Don't be scared. It is frightening, but don't be scared. You can't be scared to get that success. You can't be scared to start that new business. Don't be scared. Two, plan, plan. Put your plan together. Execute your plan. I mean, when I was an advisor for the undergraduates, they had my 6P philosophy. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. You got to plan it. And the last thing, do it and have fun
Do
with
it.
it. Do it and have fun with it.
Okay. Don't be scared. Plan and just do it.
Do it, have it, and enjoy.
Love
Enjoy
it. Those
and
sound.
trust me. Hey, trust me. When you start reaping the rewards of all the hard work that you done put in, you can sit back and sip on tea and hire other folks to do
There you go. Sound advice
it.
from Laronza Bridges. Laronza, want to thank you for joining us today. Tell us how to
Thanks for
find you
having me.
on the. Tell us how to find you on the socials, on just your movies. Just shout out how to find you.
Okay, how to find me? You can find me on Facebook at Ronza B, actor Ronza B, Instagram as well. TikTok, you can find me on as Laronza Bridges Real Estate Hub.
Okay.
Instagram also has a Laronza Bridges Real Estate Hub, as well as Facebook has a Laronza Bridges Real Estate Hub. We also have RB Editing Solutions. It's on Instagram. Um, of course, you know you got Ronza's Rants and Drink Master Ronza B is out there. So yeah, I'm coming. Of course, once the merch um, business launches, it's I gotta finally get into writing this book with these cocktails that I put together. For those that know about Drink Master Ronza B, the cocktails be fire. I have about 200 cocktail recipes that will be coming in my book for Drink Master Ronza B. So you can definitely follow Drink Master Ronza B on Instagram as well as TikTok. And if you want to go to my real estate hub, my website is www.laronzabridgesrealty.com.
All right. There you have it. And Ronza B. That's spelled with a B or
Oh,
BEE.
Ronza B is RONZABEE, like the bumblebee.
All
Because you
right.
mess around
Very
with it,
good.
you might get stung.
Put that on the shirt.
I know,
All right.
right?
Well, well, listen, I hope everybody enjoyed the episode today with Laronza Bridges, who is multifaceted out there in LA. We're looking forward to your engagement. Laronza, thank you again for joining the podcast and looking forward to your continued success. But thanks for joining today.
All right, thanks for having me. Joe, have a good one.
All right. Thanks.
All right.